Good afternoon and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Board meeting for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. I'm John Hutchings, the chair of the board. Also present is Vice Chair Commissioner Ty Menser, Commissioner Gary Edwards, and County Manager Ramiro Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and Amy Davis, the clerk of the board. And with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order and the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Commissioner Menser.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic
for
which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And is there a motion to approve today's agenda?
Vote to approve the agenda as prepared for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the November 10th, 2020 agenda. Any discussion or changes, amendments? No, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries. Thank you. Motion for the meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2020.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve board meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2020. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries as well. That takes us to presentations. And first one we have is a Public Health and Social Services, a proclamation for Veterans Day.
Good
And we have
afternoon.
Mark Moffett. There we go.
Mark Moffett is going to take us in. Yeah.
Yep.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Mark Moffett. I'm the Incident Commander for the Thurston County Incident Management Team in response to COVID-19. I'd just like to take a few minutes of your time today with the help of some of my peers to discuss why Veterans Day is so important to us. To some, having this proclamation may seem a bit trivial. I mean, after all, tomorrow we have a nationally recognized holiday in support of veterans. It's been 101 years since the first Armistice Day back in 1919. So why do we declare a proclamation today in Thurston County? To me, it's important to reaffirm our convictions and our priorities periodically, to stand behind those that stand up for us. And it's especially important during this pandemic to celebrate when we can, to thank those that do, and to give us maybe a small sense of normalcy during this time. So I appreciate the time you're giving us today to reaffirm at least one thing that is important to the freedoms of this country. And with that, I have a few speakers that I'd like to introduce you to. The first one works for the incident management team as well. He is the lead for our outbreak team. So what he does is he identifies outbreaks and helps to prevent further infections for those. And it's even more appropriate to have this person start off our proclamation because although tomorrow is Veterans Day, today is the Marine Corps birthday. And with that, I'd like to introduce former Marine Tyler Barrientos.
Thanks, Mark. We're never former, we're always Marines, remember that. So yeah, just to piggyback off that, I'm not really good at public speaking. I'm kind of nervous right now, but I did just get back from a much needed, I guess you could say, vacation in which I met 4 other Marine brothers. And it just made me realize, you know, as close as we are or were in our time in the Marines, we are totally different people now. But at the same time, we were able to revert to our, you know, selves at the moment when we last saw each other, which was quite childish. But it just makes me, you know, think of our community today and how hard things are with the situations, the elections, and COVID-19, and how we can all be so different. But at the same time, I come into the office like I did today, and even though chaos is ensuing, you know, we could all just sit down 6 feet or greater from each other and have a laugh and go over the good stuff. And it kind of reminds me of how in the Marines, we always said we were born in the dirt. And that kind of reminds me of today, how, you know, this team that I'm working with, we're a community similar to that of the Marines. You know, grinding through the dirt would be our caseload. You know, the bullets would be the COVID-19. And it was just digging our way inch by inch, day by day. And I kind of think it's really relevant to compare and contrast, you know, my time served and how it has the similarities and differences to COVID-19 and how I can use that. And I think this type of mentality can be useful to the board and the rest of our community, that no matter how difficult times are or what you've been through compared to the person you're working with who could be green as, you know, the grass, you know, it's just combining talents and experiences and getting through, taking the next step forward. But I appreciate, you know, Mark bringing me in here. And I just think that keeping our heads high and motivated and knowing that the worst you've been through is not going to be the worst. There's always going to be the next worst, but it's just taking that next step after and keeping your head up and keeping the morale of everyone around you up. So, you know, today's Marine Corps birthday, gonna have a good time tonight. Don't worry, it's going to be legal and COVID safe, but I think everyone needs to keep that mentality of work hard, play hard, but be safe, and just looking out for the people to your left and your right.
Thanks, Tyler. I would be remiss if I didn't hear a hoorah from a Marine. I'm surprised I didn't get that yet.
Army.
That's Semper Fidelis, I guess.
There we go. Hoorah.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Tyler. Commissioners, my second speaker today is also a veteran. She is also a member of the Thurston County Veterans Advisory Board, and she works for the Washington Department of Veterans Affairs. I'd like to introduce you to Lisa Narciso.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you today. And like Tyler, I'm not good with public speaking. When I was going back to college here in the US, I had put off public speaking class till I didn't have any more class to take. So anyway, I am an Army veteran. I served 4 years in active duty and 2 years active reserve. I am married to a retiree, and I should have not listened to him. I should have just stick it out and did my 20 years and served the country. But nonetheless, I proudly serve and continue to serve, following him all over the country. And my husband, we moved here 20 years ago. And when we were in Germany, he told us, okay, our last duty station is Fort Lewis, Washington. So I told him, are you kidding me? I heard it rain a lot there. I don't want to go to the rain. I want to see the sun. But thank God, you know, we came here, and Washington has been a great place for me and my family. And I am so thankful that I landed this job with Washington Department of Veterans Affairs, and I continue to serve those who have served. And I really do appreciate Thurston County, the community commissioners for everything that you do for veterans and their family. Now more than ever, because of COVID-19 and all those things associated with it, like the mental, emotional, financial strain, Thurston County has been there to help our veterans. And thank you so very much for this opportunity. God bless you all.
Thanks, Lisa. Commissioners, we have our third speaker. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this person. So our third speaker is not.
We have time for this, Mark.
All right. Well, I really appreciate that, Commissioner. So our third speaker is not yet a vet, but has been part of the military family all of her life. I'm going to brag a little bit about her. She is an accomplished in her own right. She is a straight A student, a red belt in martial arts. She's halfway through her helicopter flight training, and she's only 16. She has been my biggest supporter and advocate throughout my military career. This is my youngest daughter, Madison Moffett.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. As my dad said, I'm Madison Moffett, and I am currently a student at Capitol High School. Clearly, I'm not a veteran right now, but I do hope to be one someday if you count Coast Guard as military service as my Army father. I have grown up knowing that Veterans Day is such an important holiday. At my elementary and middle school, it was an enormous celebration. We got the entire school together in the gym and watched a slideshow that commemorated every family member of our students and staff that served. Naturally, it was interspaced with amazing pictures of military helicopters, planes, and tanks that had all the little kids squealing. Nothing quite filled my classmates and me with such a sense of pride and patriotism like Veterans Day. I remember how lucky and how honored I felt to have my family projected on the screen for the whole school to see. I'm so glad that I got to grow up in an environment that paid so much due respect for those who risked their lives in order to protect us and protect our beautiful nation. And with that, I would like to wish you all a very happy Veterans Day.
Thanks, Madison. Thank you. I appreciate that. So my final scheduled speaker, I know there are other veterans on here, and if you have the time, they may want to say a few words, but my final speaker is a veteran and one of the original architects of the Lacey Veterans Hub. And he is also the current chair of your Thurston County Veterans Advisory Board. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Sean Smitty Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm wearing these nice ear protection pieces here because I do have a newborn in the house, so bear with me. I want to thank you for allowing me to participate in this call and take up some time in your meeting. I'm an Army veteran. My brother is a former Marine, so I will say happy birthday, Marines. And I won't do the call that you do. I still say hua. My father-in-law is retired from the Army. He was a helicopter pilot. Very proud of him. He also worked for Boeing and then retired again, serving as a helicopter pilot doing reset for the military when they would refurbish the helicopters to send back to theater. I just want to really take the time to say thank you for putting the time and effort into Thurston County and providing resources for our veterans. I know I'm a veteran, but I'm also a resident of Thurston County. I live in Lacey, and I'm scheduled to go to the hub to receive services myself. So from all of us veterans and from all the citizens of Thurston County, I just want to say thank you. We really appreciate you and your staff. Thankful to Mark. I see that Shelly Slaughter is on the call as well. Thank you. And I didn't see Ashley, but I know she's always behind the scenes doing something. So thank you, Ashley. You don't realize how much you make a difference in the lives of our veterans in the community. And the hub was just one goal that became a reality. And I'm just looking forward to what our board, what the commissioners, and what the city of Lacey can do for our veterans going forward. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lisa. And I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Smitty. And thank you for pointing out Shelly. Shelly is our executive sponsor for the Veterans Employers Resource Group. So I appreciate you being here, Shelly. And Jose Vargas, who is also a member of the Veterans Employers Resource Group, the VERG. He's here, and he not only Army, but he was Coast Guard. So yes, Coast Guard's military, right, Jose? So
yes, we are.
I just joke with my daughter, so that's okay. But thank you, commissioners. I appreciate your time, and that's all we have for today for you.
Thank you, and thank each of you for joining us. Commissioner Menser, do you have anything to say? Any comments?
Oh, well, just, yeah, thank you for being here in this unusual format. We wish we could have you in the boardroom, but next year we hope that we will. Um, I did not serve in the military, but both my grandfathers did, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find a family in the community that isn't touched by directly by the folks that served and the results of your sacrifice. So thank you, and I'm glad we're doing this, and yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards, I'm sure you don't have anything to say, do you?
Well, just really quick, huh? Army, okay, I'm a veteran of the United States Army. Actually, I got out about 55 years ago. But I would like to comment on a more somber topic, I guess, and that is that there are many, many veterans that are not able to be with us anymore because they made the ultimate sacrifice. And their families made a very trying sacrifice, whether they made it home or not. And the reality is we would not be here enjoying the freedoms that all of us, whether we're participating in person or virtually, are enjoying today if it had not been for the willingness of our veterans to step forward and do what needed to be done to keep us free in this country. So I just want to recognize all the veterans, whatever your service was, and whatever your job in that branch was, because it took a team effort. And I like to think that here at Thurston County, we also try to do the best we can from a team perspective. So thank you very much for all that you veterans have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Tyler, you touched my heart. Lisa, you say you're not good speakers, but you're good speakers. You're fine. But Tyler, my dad, God rest his soul, was a Marine. And my field training officer, when I first became a police officer in 1980, God rest his soul, was a Marine. When I came to Olympia in 1985, my first supervisor, sergeant, was a Marine. And so, like, you can't get away from that. And I realized today's birthday. And for you Army folks, my son, my baby boy, is retired disabled Army. And I'm just so proud of all of you, each of you. So this is meaningful to us and our family. So thank you all for being here for this. And is there a proclamation to read?
Yes, sir. Thurston County Proclamation, Veterans Day. Whereas Veterans Day is an annual opportunity to honor the American patriots who answered the call of duty, protect our nation, and preserve our freedoms. And whereas throughout the rich history of the United States of America, patriotic men and women have taken up arms and sworn an oath to defend our nation and have established an honorable tradition of dedicated service. And whereas our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and merchant mariners, many of whom have paid the ultimate sacrifice to ensure our country remains the land of the free, have made our county, state, and nation proud. And whereas the patriotism of those in uniform who continue to defend the timeless truths and great freedoms on which our nation was founded will continue to serve as inspiration for generations to come. And whereas we will always honor and support the selfless sacrifices and courage of our military spouses, children, and families. And whereas Thurston County is recognized as one of the most military-friendly counties in the state of Washington, with more than 32,000 veterans calling it home. And whereas long after leaving the uniform behind, Thurston County veterans continue to serve our community as public servants, mentors, teachers, community leaders, parents, and neighbors. And whereas with respect for and in recognition of the contributions our service members have made to the cause of peace and freedom around the world, the United States Congress has provided that November 11th of each year shall be set aside as a legal public holiday to honor our nation's veterans. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaims November 11th as Veterans Day in Thurston County and asks the community to come together to remember the sacrifices of all those who fought so valiantly to preserve our heritage and freedom, and let us promote an enduring peace so that their efforts shall not have been in vain. Adopted this 10th day of November 2020 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. And we have the proclamation in a folder suitable for framing. It's going to be presented to somebody. I'm not sure exactly who we're going to get it to, probably to you, Mark. And Maddie, you are awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you all for joining us. Now, the next presentation is a proclamation for National Adoption Day. And do we have Pam Hartman-Beyer? I see we have Judge. Yes, we have
Judge Wilson with us.
Yep, I see her. And so I'll turn it over to you. You ready, Your Honor? Are you going to take it?
Yes, Pam asked me to join you, and I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
We're doing a lot of our court hearings over at FJC on Zoom, and the first thing we have to remember to say is, can you hear us? And can we hear you? And make sure it all works. And it's working well today for you all. So good job. Technology challenges, right? So thank you for having me. We are asking and looking forward to the county commissioners proclaiming next Thursday, November 19th, as National Adoption Day here in Thurston County. We're super excited about celebrating Adoption Day this year. I had the privilege of being here last year in person and receiving a proclamation for last year. And as you might imagine, our Adoption Day celebration this year is going to look a little bit different. Last year, we had the largest number of families at the courthouse for our Thurston County celebration, 10 families in two courtrooms. This year, we're doing a virtual celebration so that we can keep everybody safe. But we have the enthusiasm that we have every year and more so, because there's no reason that we shouldn't celebrate and continue to promote adoptions, even if we are in the midst of a pandemic. So we're celebrating the finalization of adoptions for 5 families next week. And we are promoting adoptions and people's interest in creating families through adoptions for all the children who are waiting in Washington and across the country to have their forever family. I have a couple kids at home, and I asked them last year how they defined family. And I haven't yet asked them this year, but I will say that the pandemic has put a new spin on family. But I observe that it's similar, and the family is the people who are there for you through thick and thin, who support you, who make fun of you, as my teens make fun of each other, but do it in, loving jest. And in a pandemic, it's the people that you have to find things to do with, because they're often the only people that you can do things with. So, of course, families come in all shapes and sizes, and we see that at Family and Juvenile Court. And Adoption Day is a wonderful day where we're able to celebrate the families who have been waiting to legally become the forever family. They all have had the children placed in their homes for at least 6 months, many for several years. And we hear stories about people who have been waiting for having that family come together. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful event. So we're thrilled that even despite the pandemic, we're able to have this big celebration join across the country. First National Adoption Day was in the year 2000. So this is our 21st year. And we are thrilled. Hope that some of you can join us. Our virtual celebration is scheduled for next Thursday, the 19th at 2 o'clock. And we'll have about a half an hour of recognizing and commemorating the families, and then we'll have our private adoptions afterwards with each of the individual families. So I'm happy to answer any questions, very excited and pleased and appreciative that this is on your agenda today, and that the Commission is recognizing the importance of promoting and celebrating adoptions. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge, very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us. Commissioner Menser, any comments or questions?
No, I'd just like to thank Judge Wilson for being here. I am going to be tied up next week at a Salmon Recovery Council meeting, but I've attended the adoption celebration in the past, and I encourage anyone who can to participate. It's really cool. It's a really cool part of family court. As somebody that did a lot of other things in family court that weren't as happy and joyful, it was just a fun thing to do at family court and see some of the things that just see the families and just the happiness. It's pretty inspiring. So thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
I'll only say that I couldn't be more supportive of the judge's comments for adoption. I think it really says a lot for our society and helps a lot of folks succeed. Thank you.
Yeah, and Your Honor, I'd like to say that I know several friends, I have several friends that have adopted over the years, and they're very heartwarming. And when you read when the proclamation is read, it gives all the reasons why. They're very, very special families. So with that, there's a proclamation.
Thurston County Proclamation, National Adoption Day. Whereas all children deserve to be raised in a safe, stable, and loving home. And whereas more than 1,362 children in Washington are legally free and waiting for a family to call theirs forever. And whereas Thurston County recognizes the importance of finding a permanent and caring family for every child in need and supporting the families who care for them. And whereas giving a child a strong foundation, a home, a family to love, and a safe place to grow is one of life's greatest and most generous gifts. And whereas families who choose the life-changing path of adoption make a meaningful and lasting difference in the lives of some of the most vulnerable children and youth in our state. And whereas to help these children find permanent nurturing families, Thurston County Family and Juvenile Court will open its doors on National Adoption Day, Thursday, November 19th, 2020, to finalize the adoptions of local children and join other organizations to celebrate all adoptions. And whereas this effort, along with similar celebrations in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, and Puerto Rico, will offer children the chance to live with stable and loving families and encourage other dedicated individuals to make a powerful difference in the life of a child through adoption. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaim November 19th, 2020 as National Adoption Day in Thurston County, and in so doing, urge all citizens to join in a national effort to raise awareness about the importance of adoption. Adopted this 10th day of November 2020 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Judge, I'm going to add just two things because this is a special event, special day coming up, that it seems like all of us, but especially kids that need the most love, ask in the most unloving way. And even for adults, but especially kids, all we look for is affection, belonging, and recognition. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you deal with the families all the time. The kids want to be loved and accepted for who they are. They want a sense of belonging, belong to a family, belong to a neighborhood, belong to a church, belong to a school, belong to a team. And they want recognition. They want to be recognized for the things that they do well. Affection, belonging, and recognition, so simple. So the adoptions are really, really cool events. So thank you for doing that, Judge.
You're welcome. Thank you to all of you for your support and your recognition of this special day. And thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye now. That takes us to item number 1 on the agenda, which is public comment. Excuse me. And when you come to the podium, I will read your names a couple at a time so you know when you're due next. When you come to the podium, if you're in the building or if you're in the boardroom, please introduce yourself, including the address where you reside in the county. Please address the board, not staff. If you haven't done so, please silence your cell phone. And the board, we don't respond to public comment, but as an as-needed basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. You are limited to a total of 3 minutes to address the board. You cannot donate your time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. We please ask you to be respectful. No comments that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature, and comments that are commercial in nature, such as a promotion for a for-profit business, are not allowed. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public records release pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. and any remarks about pending land use permits that or similar matters that could come before the board wouldn't be appropriate either. And Romero, will you please give the admonishment for electioneering?
That perhaps might be not necessarily at this point. Thank you.
Okay, then. We have the first canvassing board today, and still it's a hot topic, but please vote no electioneering. With that, first up is Nancy Winters, followed by John Pettit. Oh, the timer, the clerk of the board, Amy Davis, is going to be running the clock, I imagine, in the boardroom.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Is the microphone already on?
Yes, on.
Thank you. Commissioners, thank you for listening to my
Put
testimony.
a little closer to your, no, the microphone closer to your mouth, please.
I'll put the microphone by my mouth.
Closer.
This close, yeah, thank you.
There. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners, for taking my testimony today. My name is Nancy Winters. I live at 5537 Libby Road, Northeast, Olympia, 98506. I'm here today to support the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. I have lived in Thurston County for almost 35 years. I've worked in the environmental field, including for the Thurston County Environmental Health. I've raised my family here, paid taxes here, participated in community events here, and finally retired. I have a deeply vested interest in this community. Earlier this year, I wrote letters to each of you and members of the 3 city councils in support of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. From some, I heard back saying that the plan might be too costly, especially in light of the coronavirus. To that, I would respond that we can either pay now or pay much, much more later. The societal inequities that have been made and revealed and made abundantly clear during the pandemic will be exacerbated with untackled climate change, affecting persons of color and the poor to a much greater extent than the privileged classes. And we will all pay for that. The costs to the county of inaction on climate issues are numerous. They include flooding due to sea level rise, inundating both private properties as well as public properties, loss of snowpack leading to water shortages, increased healthcare costs related to both heat and diseases, and increased stormwater management costs, just to name a few. The longer we wait, the greater the greenhouse gas reductions that we will need to make, and the greater the costs associated with those reductions. I am more than willing to pay higher taxes now if those taxes enable actions that will protect our collective future. For those of you in elected leadership positions, this is your opportunity to act. Approval and collaborative implementation of the Climate Mitigation Plan will allow the 3 cities in the county to do what they collectively can do, to take those actions that we have control over. By working together, our actions will have much greater impacts. Such a collaborative undertaking would be a model for other parts of Washington and for the country. It is an approach that we can be proud of. As daunting as it is to take steps to mitigate climate change, we must take the action as if our lives, our children's lives, and our grandchildren's lives depend upon it, because they do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. John Pettit, followed by Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is John Pettit. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a couple different subject matters in brief terms. One is I've been watching the budgeting process, and I don't think that necessarily you as commissioners really completely heard something that the budget manager had conveyed, which is you can do bonding without any approval of the people, but for up to about $50 million from the REIT 1 account. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because it was reflected that the Ming analysis of of a previous time had shown us that there was a need for potentially for the countywide of about, for all the buildings up here, about $25 million worth of repair. We don't need to step into $50 million of bonding. And even that figure probably is double what the actual cost is by virtue of the cost markup system they used. Now, I wanted to mention that because that's something which I definitely agree with. Let's get these buildings fixed. We don't need a new building. We don't need to spend $50 million on bonding when we only need to spend maybe around 12 to 15 million to repair what we have up to good condition currently at current times. Second thing I'm going to talk about briefly is I realize that the background of different commissioners has been limited and doesn't appear to be a lot about the budget. When I say that, when two of the commissioners approved this budget, Mr. Menzer and Mr. Hutchings, it initially showed that we were going to anticipate a slightly less than $6 million year-end fund balance, and now your current projection is nearly $23 million fund balance at the end of the year. I guess that kind of indicates a lack of knowledge about what's going on. And so I'm going to suggest that maybe you need to do a little more studying, but you need to also give back the offices what you took away through a process. Now, my last thing I'm going to talk about is I understand there might be a intent to seek another criminal justice tax coming up on the next year for election. Let me just read through quickly as I can so you understand. I'll try to be in my time. These are existing taxes. First of all, sales tax. Thurston County regular and optional tax. Thurston County transient rental tax. Thurston County transportation tax. Thurston County special hotel motel tax. Thurston County affordable housing tax. Thurston County criminal justice tax. Thurston County communication tax. Thurston County tourism promotion area. Thurston County mental health tax. Thurston juvenile detention sales tax. Thurston County public safety, it's a city type tax. Thurston wireless tax. Thurston wireline tax. Thurston VoIP tax. Prepaid wireless tax. Those are all Thurston County, not counting my property taxes, conservation futures, county road, the regular county tax, conservation district, stormwater.
That been time yet?
Oh, I appreciate that. I just want to make sure you understand. We, the citizens of Thurston County, have enough taxes, and we don't need a second round and an additional criminal justice tax, and we don't need to budget for even running an election for one. Thank you.
Okay, Terry Ballard, followed by Julie Holmquist.
Before I start, can I tell you, since I didn't get the opportunity to speak as a veteran and giving my service, can I do so now without the clock?
This is your 3 minutes for addressing the board, Mr. Ballard.
Okay, so I'm suppressed as a veteran. Thank you. My name is Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran. I have 29 years of active duty and been in Thurston County for over 16 years after retiring in 2012. The county auditor who suspects fraudulent voters of suspicious activity should be giving the information to the canvassing board and refer the issue to the county prosecutor per RCW 29A.84.10. She didn't do that. Knowingly provides, if the person knowingly provides false information, registry, that's a Class C felony, 29A.84.140. Uses or alters information, state or local election office, that's a Class C felony. Knowingly provides false information to a declaration candidacy or petition of nomination of Class C is a Class C felony. Also, the name of a person, not hers, is a Class B felony, 29A.84.320. Using an actual name. This person, as I reported last Tuesday, is not using her real name. She is not using her given name as per her immigration status. She is not using her given name as per her passport. I have reported this, and I've reported this to this council here, and they have done nothing. The name and actual physical address is another thing. We have city council members that don't live at their addresses that they seem to vote on. A database, I'm curious to see the database for this because I suspect voter fraud. Also, we have a lot of new elected people, okay? Well, if it has to be done 8 days before the election or in person by 8 p.m. the day of election. I think there's a bunch of voter fraud going on there. Each city, town, and rural as a unincorporated must separately pay registration costs. I'll be requesting those registration costs from the auditor. Former address of applicant is required. And your full name is required. And that includes Menzer Samuel T. What does T stand for? Why isn't he using his full name as required by law? Also, Mr. Hutchings, John F. Again, why are you not using your middle name as required on all forms to include your candidacy for this commission? Okay, misconduct of officers is in 4220. And to end, false reporting is found in 40.42.20.040 and is a gross misdemeanor. And you can find all of the maximum sentences for all the misdemeanor, gross misdemeanor, felonies, and such in RCW 9A.20.021. With end, why are you not upholding law
Is that 3
per
minutes?
your swearing in as a commissioner? Thank you.
Thank you. And Julie Holmquist, you're next.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Julie Holmquist, and I live on Lakeside Street Southwest in Olympia, Washington. Last week, I was here testifying about hunting on Black Lake. I left you with a question to ponder, a question that I have actually already researched and seem to feel that I know the answer myself, and that is, what makes hunting on Black Lake legal? Where is the legal authority? Where is any supporting law, regulation, or document that allows hunting on the open waters of Black Lake to be legal? I myself have researched this for about a year. When you look at just the most simple thing to do is just to look at the Washington Fish and Wildlife's website. And when you look at Black Lake, they list all the species of birds, the Oregon endangered frog. They list all of the fish that you may be able to catch and all of that. Not one time do they mention hunting on Black Lake. When you research Fish and Wildlife's website and you type in Black Lake hunting, you come up with the Black River Unit page. On that page, it talks about the Black Lake River Refuge. That refuge does border the south end of Black Lake. But it says right here on their website, the river itself is open to the public by boat only. Waterfowl hunting is allowed on Black River by boat, but hunters must not walk on land anywhere in the refuge. Boat launch areas are located at 110th and 123rd Streets. See the Black Lake River Unit map. So you click on the map. You see the river. You see that it's highlighted, and you see that that river does not flow into Black Lake itself. There's a line, it looks like a little stop sign, like around the border, the black thick line that follows that map if you take a look at it. Right before you get to Black Lake, there's a little black stopper right at that river. It does not highlight the river going into the lake. It stops it right before it reaches Black Lake. Typically, hunting is allowed on public refuge lands unless there is something saying that there isn't. This is specifically saying where they can hunt and where they can launch. When me and Tim first started calling Fish and Wildlife in 2018 about the hunting, they sent us in the wrong direction. They sent us to the Black Lake River. The lady told us that gunshots carry. So I actually went out there quite a few times. I, brought, my camera, crap like that. Started researching that area, never saw anyone hunting there. Then when we call all of a sudden in 2019, all of a sudden it's legal for them to hunt there. I find that kind of interesting that I have sent emails, phone calls to Fish and Wildlife asking for what legal law does support, where's the regulation that supports hunting on Black Lake, because as far as I can see, there isn't any, and I would like you guys to look into that and respond and possibly set up a meeting or something. I also brought shell casings today. These are fine. These are things that I find at the community park. My neighbor yesterday blew up a bird with the bird blaster. These ducks, I had just gone out to feed a little scoop of food, and he blew one up with an explosive device. And I don't believe anything was done about that either. And these are pieces of the bird.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Romero, is there anybody else in the boardroom that would like to
Somebody
address?
just came into the boardroom. Would you like to testify today, sir? No, the public hearing is at 3 o'clock, so this is, okay, thank you. No, sir, let me check the conference call.
Thank you.
For those citizens who have joined us this afternoon via conference call, if you would like to provide public testimony this afternoon, please unmute yourself, state your name, where you reside in the county. You have 3 minutes. Nothing, sir.
All right, thank you. Public comment is now over then. Excuse me. That takes us to number 2 on the agenda, the county manager's update.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up with a couple updates and similar to the public testimony you received today. First of all, I'd like to address the comment that you received from Mr. Terry Ballard last week. Among the allegations of voters fraud, the suggestion was to approach the auditor's office with a formal letter. Hope he does that. And also he submitted some documentation to me and to the board and again, he alleges some voter fraud. This documentation is related to Ms. Carolina Mejia. And that issue was litigated in front of a judge and the case was dismissed. So I have nothing else to follow up on that matter.
All right.
So the second item is related to the public testimony related to the Black Lake shooting, and you heard also some additional testimony today. So as I stated last week, I was entrusted to follow up with and identify the process. So I'm here to walk you through the process as to how the board could have the option to establish a no shooting zone, not just in Black Lake, but any parts of the county. That is under Thurston County Code Title 10. I stand corrected. Last week, I mentioned to the board that perhaps that needs to go through a docketing process. That is not the case, which is a good news in terms of the timing. But this issue, as you heard through the public testimony, as well as the written testimony you have received in the commissioner's office, is not a simple issue. It's complex. It requires reaching out and researching what the existing law is related to the fish and wildlife hunting, understanding the responsibilities the state has, as well as the county, considering those are not the waters of the county, are the waters of the state. Also, we need to make sure anytime the board goes through a code amendment, it needs to be a public engagement process. And that is part of an essential of your decision-making process before you implement a policy. So I'm here to just provide some parameters in terms of a 30,000-foot level again, that this process is not going to be able to do in the next month or next week. Just is not going to occur. If the board decides to go through an entire process to identify areas in Black Lake where they would like to implement a no shooting zones, the staff has the responsibility to provide all that information to the board to make sure that you make an informed decision, and you implement policy within the accordance of the law in accordance with the purview of the Board of County Commissioners. This morning, I had a conversation with the board related to this item, and I explained that I was going to give a formal update of this issue. And the board requested to me that get a little bit deeper into it in terms of the process and identify what additional steps that we need to take before the board directs me to continue with this larger context. So next steps are I'm going to be working with my executive assistant to dive into more detail related to this particular law, the nexus associated with all the different items, and I will report back to the board maybe the next month or two related to the next steps. Public testimony is done. Thank you. No.
All right, thanks, sir. Agenda item number 3 is consent items A and B. Is there a motion?
I move to approve consent items 3A and 3B.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent items A and B. Any discussion on those?
No.
No. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries. Department items, agenda item number 4 is Central Services lease extension with the Thurston Mason Mental Health Triage Center. And we have Michael Crow, Capital Project Manager here. Go ahead, Michael, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Michael Crow, Central Services. I'm here to talk to you about an extension on a lease for the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization. They have an existing lease in the Thurston County for approximately 7,465 square feet. The Thurston Mason Behavioral Organization has applied for a grant with the state of Washington's Enterprise Services in the amount of $1,542,128. The state needs a 15-year lease to ensure that the facility is secured for the intended use to expand the Thurston Mason Mental Health Triage Center at 3285 Ferguson Street, Southwest Tumwater, Washington. We have an existing lease there that has 4 years left on it, and we're asking for an 11-year extension. The current annual rate in 2021 is going to be $177,616.77. With the increased square footage, we estimate that the annual rate will be $221,422. This also leaves a small portion of the building that is Thurston County Correction uses at about 650 square feet. And I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Commissioners, any questions of Michael?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve an 11-year lease extension with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization, including an increase in square footage occupied at the Thurston Mason County Mental Health Triage Center, and authorize the Assistant County Manager to execute the extension.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 11-year lease extension with Thurston Mason County Mental Health Triage Center. Any further discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Community Planning and Economic Development Transfer Development Rights Easement. We have Andy DeFobis with us, Associate Planner with DPED. Hi, Andy.
Hello. Good afternoon, Chair Hutchings and Commissioners. I am Andy DeFobis. I'm an Associate Planner with Community Planning and Economic Development. So staff have been processing an application for to certify development rights in the county's Transfer of Development Rights program. This program allows certain agricultural landowners to certify development rights on their property and transfer them to urban areas of the county. The goal is to preserve farmland while allowing landowners to reap economic value of their land's development potential. Part of that process is approving and recording an easement between the county and the landowner that allows those rights to be certified and ensures that the property will be used for agricultural uses in perpetuity. The application under review is from Susan Yackley for 50 acres south of Rochester on James Road. This property contains a residence, agricultural structures, pasture, and forest land. The property contains 9 available development rights. The applicant wishes to retain 1 right for future use on the property, and the remaining 8 rights would be severed from the property and could be applied in a receiving area in the urban part of the county in the future. Staff have reviewed this application for consistency with the county's transfer development rights program and have prepared an easement for the board's review. It has been approved and signed by our legal counsel and is now before the board for your consideration. And this item was previously the subject of a board briefing on October 28th and then a follow-up on November 3rd. That concludes my remarks. Are there any questions from the board?
Any questions, commissioners, or comments?
I would have a comment.
Certainly.
I would just say that this has been thoroughly discussed and reviewed at prior meetings, and that's probably why we don't have any comments going on and questions at this point in time. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mentor, anything?
Just this is a beautiful area of the county, one of my favorites, and it's some of our prime agricultural land. So it's a great place to do something like this, and yeah, glad we get this program moving forward.
Beautiful. Is there a motion, sir?
I move to accept a transferable development rights easement from Susan Yackley over 50 acres located at 8615 James Road Southwest, Rochester, Washington, 98599.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept a transfer development rights easement. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy.
Thank you.
5B is setting a public hearing for a comprehensive plan docket capital improvement program, CP4. And we have Jennifer Davis, our planning manager. Hello, Jennifer.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Again, Jennifer Davis with Community Planning and Economic Development. So I'm here today to request that the Board of County Commissioners set a public hearing on the annual update to the capital improvement program for December 8th at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter. The capital improvement program is a required part of the county's Capital Facilities Plan, which is a Growth Management Act requirement. The Capital Improvement Program is not a budget. It's a 6-year financial plan for facilities needed to provide the infrastructure to maintain levels of service to the community as we grow. The program details projects needed from 2021 to 2026, including parks and trails improvements, water and sewer, waste handling facility improvements, transportation projects, and others. The board held 2 work sessions on this topic, July 29th and October 22nd. Previous to board review, the Planning Commission was briefed on the CIP. They held a public hearing on October 21st and voted unanimously to recommend approval to the board. I should note that during recent deliberations, the board directed staff to add 2 small projects to the draft CIP for your public hearing. One is a recreation project to add sports courts near the city of Rainier at the Yelm to Nino trailhead, and a county facility project to add a resource room for released inmates in Building 4. These changes will be reflected in an updated draft published on the community planning webpage along with the hearing notice, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Commissioners, any questions or comments for Jennifer?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a motion?
Move to set a public hearing for December 8th, 2020 at 6 p.m. on the annual update to the Thurston County Capital Improvement Program, Appendix G of the Thurston County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to set a public hearing for the comprehensive plan docket item CP-4, the capital improvement program. Any further discussion? No, all
sir.
in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, 6A is emergency services, a contract for federal fiscal year 20 Homeland Security grant. And we have Kurt Harden, our emergency services director, with us.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Kurt Harden, Director of Emergency Services. I'm here to request the Board of County Commissioners approve the federal fiscal year 2020 Homeland Security grant for the period of September 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2022 in the amount of $308,499. Thurston County is the lead administrative agency for Homeland Security Region 3, which consists of Grays Harbor, Lewis, Mason, Pacific, and Thurston counties, along with the cities and tribes in each county. In addition to the $13,402 in maintenance and administration, Thurston County's award will provide funding for the following projects: $200,079 in training and exercise program for the 5-county Homeland Security Region, $19,791 for equipment for Thurston County Special Operations Rescue Team, $24,954 in equipment and supplies for Thurston County's Regional Command Unit, $6,649 that's earmarked for enhancing election security, and lastly, $43,594 for security information and event monitoring software to enhance cybersecurity across the county offices and departments. This grant is 100% federally funded and there is no county cost share. Subject to your questions, I request approval of the Homeland Security grants.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Kurt?
No, sir.
Commissioner, okay, nor do I. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the federal fiscal year 2020 Homeland Security Grant, FFY 20 HSGP number E21-076 for the period of September 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2022 for a total of $308,499. And authorize the Director of Emergency Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept and approve the contract for the federal fiscal year 20 Homeland Security Grant. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Kurt, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Agenda item number 7 is amendment to a contract with Providence Health and Services, Southwest Washington. We have Maddie, oh, I'm sorry, not Maddie, Mark Moffitt, Community Program Manager. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Commissioners. Yes, I'd rather have my daughter do this, but I guess part of my job. So we currently have a contract with Providence Health to conduct our stationary COVID-19 testing at the Hawks Prairie site. And so this amendment would increase the amount by $252,000. And that would do 2 things for us. One, it will increase the duration through the end of December 30th for testing. And the other thing it does for us is provides shelters for the testing itself. This will provide 10 structures, 8 8x8 wooden structures and 2 8x12s. It also would put electricity so we can provide heat and air conditioning to the sites during the winter months. This is the better of 2 options that were looked at. The first option was more expensive and it decreased the amount of flow that we were having at the site. So this will increase the flow, the congestion just a little bit. But the big thing is that it's going to provide shelter for the medical personnel.
All right, thanks. Are there any questions for Mark?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the amendment to the current professional services contract with Providence Health and Services Southwest Washington to increase the amount by $252,000 for a total of $1,013,275 for the extension of performance through December 30, 2020, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to execute this amendment and future amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amendment to the contract with Providence Health and Services, Southwest Washington. Any further discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Agenda item number 8A is the resolution adopting 2020 Parks Open Space and Trails Plan. And we've got Lucy Mills, Road Operations Manager. Hi, Lucy.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Lucy Mills, Road Operations Manager with Public Works. I'm here today to ask you to approve the resolution adopting the 2020 Parks, Open Space, and Trails Plan. This plan acts as a guiding management document for the county's parks and trails system. An adopted post plan allows for the receipt of grants to make improvements to the parks and trail system. An outreach effort was conducted to solicit citizen input regarding the current state and future needs of the county's parks and trail system. Based on citizens' input, growth projections, and the current park property inventory, a new level of service is proposed in the post plan. On June 10th and July 15th of 2020, the board held briefings to discuss the draft post plan, and October 27th of 2020, a public hearing was held to take comment regarding the updated post plan. No comment was received. Can I answer any questions for you?
Any questions for Lucy?
No, sir.
No. All right,
Keeping your feet dry, Lucy?
What's that?
You keeping your feet dry?
Yeah.
Trying to.
Okay.
Good grief.
I would just comment that an item like this kind of concludes with something of a whimper, but this plan is, a lot of work goes into it. It was very well done. I would encourage the public who's interested in the park system to take a look at it. It's been completely updated and just a ton of work goes into putting it together. So, so thank you, Lucy, and your team.
Thank you.
I would move to approve a resolution adopting the 2020 Parks, Open Space, and Trails Plan.
Second.
About the shortest motion you've ever made, isn't it?
I know. Felt like insufficient.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a resolution adopting the post plan or Parks, Open Space, and Trails Plan. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
8B, ordinance regarding Black Lake Special District issuance of bond. And we have Tim Wilson, our Water Resource Program Manager. Hello, Tim.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Public Works, and I am here today recommending that the Board of County Commissioners approve an ordinance authorizing the Black Lake Special District to issue a $1.4 million bond, which will be funded by a system of special assessment for 179 lakefront owners. The Black Lake Special District Governing Board has requested, pursuant to RCW 8538-230, that the Board of County Commissioners authorize a $1.4 million bond to fund water quality improvements within the lake. Proposed water quality improvements include an alum treatment to address algae issues. Special use districts, prior to issuance of bonds or notes, must receive authorization from the county legislative authority as stated per RCW 8538-230. It's important to note that authorizing issuance of the bond does not result in a financial obligation to the county. The proposed bond would be funded from a system of special assessment adopted by the Board of County Commissioners through Ordinance 15930, and the term of bond repayment is 20 years. The process for this has been relatively lengthy, with multiple briefings and discussions, as well as a public process, which included a public hearing to consider comments to the special assessment. This would be the final step in the process of considering authorization of the bond as requested by the Black Lake Special District. And with that, I am recommending that the board move to approve an ordinance authorizing the Black Lake Special District to issue the $1.4 million bond.
Thank you. Any questions of Tim regarding this? No? All right, is there a motion?
Move to approve an ordinance authorizing the Black Lake Special District to issue a $1.4 million bond, which will be funded by a system of special assessment for 179 lakefront owners.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
My concern as we moved forward with this was the fact that this was going to have an undue burden on the senior park residents that live in some of the mobile home parks on Black Lake. So that affects my position on this. Thank you.
All right. County Manager, you mentioned something this morning when we discussed this about this does not put a financial burden on the county either. Is that correct?
Yeah, but you considering this action, it will not put any financial risk or liability to the county related to this particular bond. Everything any financial liability will lie on the Black Lake Special Use District. which is composed by elected officials within that district.
Thank you, sir. So it's been moved and seconded and discussed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed?
No.
You're not opposed?
Yeah, I am opposed. Hey.
Thanks. That wasn't a trick question. Thank you. That motion carries. Agenda item number 9 is the county manager. It's the wrap up, where the commissioners report back from the previous week. Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, I'll give a very brief report. The whole time has been spent tied up on budget, thanks to Robin. So thank you, Robin, for that. That's going to be the extent of my report.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Menser?
I attended the Grand Mound Rochester Chamber meeting. I gave a monthly update there. Attended the Innovative Justice meeting this morning. Attended a LASAC seminar about a new exposure alert system that the state will be rolling out next month. And I think we're going to discuss a little later today at the Board of Health. Those are the key things that I did besides my typical assignments like animal services and Shayla's Basin, et cetera.
That's it. Then what I'll do is just tell you I attended this afternoon the first of 3 canvassing board meetings at the auditor's office, along with Mary Hall, the auditor, and John Toon, I'm the prosecutor. The first 3 meetings to get certified this election. That's always a very interesting, fascinating process. County Manager, turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Let me walk you through briefly your upcoming schedule for the next 2 weeks. The reason that I'm going to be walking you through your schedule next 2 weeks is the next week, which is November.
Oh, we lost your audio, Romero.
Can you hear it? No. Maybe the battery's going to, hold on, let me.
It might be going bad. Thank you.
Low bid batteries, I think.
No, not yet.
About now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have been using the microphone quite a bit today. Anyways, so I'm going to be walking you through the next 2 weeks. Next week's Board of County Commissioners meeting had been canceled. That will be the Tuesday, November 17th. And the reason is for you to be able to attend the annual Washington State Association of County Leaders Conference. That conference will be a virtual event. So beginning today, soon after this meeting, you have 2 public hearings. The first one is you will receive public testimony related to an amendment to the Sienna 2 Development Agreement. Soon after that, you will be receiving public testimony related to the Development Code docket number 821, which is the rural ADUs. At 4 o'clock, you have your regular Board of Health. And at 6 in the afternoon, you have been invited to participate on the League of Women Voters Forum, Where's the Water? It's a series of briefings, meetings they have held. Tomorrow, county offices are closed in observance to the Veterans Day holiday. Thursday, November 12th, 8 o'clock, you will be participating on your annual South Sun Military Community Partnership Program, which is the Elected Officials Council. And I believe the chair of the board, Commissioner Hutchins, will be addressing the group. 9:30, you will convene here with your budget deliberations. Although the budget deliberations at this point have been concluded, and the staff will walk you through review on the decisions that you have made so far, preliminary decisions that you have made so far related to the budget. And I have a couple of items following to that, which that agenda has been posted. Most likely, the budget briefing in the afternoon of Thursday the 12th would be canceled, as well as the Friday, November 13 budget deliberation meetings will be canceled as well. Moving on to Monday, November 16th, you have the Washington State Associations of County Board of Directors meeting at noon. And on Tuesday, November 17th, you will have your agenda setting, where you will be reviewing the agenda for the following week, which is November 24th. And in the afternoon, you begin your Washington State Association of County Leaders Conference. So it is following on Wednesday, November 18th, as well as Thursday, November 19th. And we have extended the specific briefings meetings that you will be joined at your preference. Friday, November 20th, you have your regular steady meeting. And then nothing until Tuesday, November 24th, where you'll be convening here again at 9 in the morning to review the agenda for the afternoon meeting. And that's all I have. Before you close, commissioners, just make sure that we have 2 different Zoom meetings for the 2 public hearings. When you come back, please click on the Sienna 2 public hearing first. That is the first public hearing on the schedule.
All right. Thank you. And for those waiting for us to start the public hearing, it's going to start probably about 2 minutes. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, sir.